Hello friends! Welcome to a new Happy Learning video. Today we're going to learn about the Roman Empire. Legend has it that Rome was founded by Romulus and Remus, two brothers who had been raised by a wolf. But that's just a legend. Rome was founded almost 2,800 years ago with the union of several villages in Italy. At first, it was a monarchy. Those who commanded were the kings, but later it became a republic. Do you know what that is? A republic is a form of government where there are no kings, but politicians make the decisions they think are convenient. The Republic of Rome lasted several centuries until about 2,000 years ago, when what we know as the Roman Empire began. In an empire, all power is in the hands of an emperor, who is like the king of kings. The Romans conquered all the nations of the Mediterranean: Greece, Egypt, Syria, France, Germany, and also the Iberian and Celtic people of Hispania. They even arrived in Britannia, now known as England. But how did the Romans live? Roman society was divided into several groups. The patricians were the nobles. They had a lot of power. They were politicians and military men, rich and powerful. Below them were the plebeians, the people. They were farmers, artisans, and workers in general. And finally, in the lowest part were the slaves, who used to be the prisoners of war. War was a very important activity for the Romans. Their armies were huge and formed by fearsome soldiers called legionaries. Thanks to them, they conquered all corners of the Mediterranean. The Romans were also great engineers and architects, and created very orderly cities with many amenities. They had aqueducts to carry water from one place to another, bridges to cross rivers, circuses, theatres, spas, and schools. Roman children went to school, like us. They also built roads, and this made it a lot easier to get from one side of the empire to the other. The Roman Empire ended in the 5th century when the Germans invaded Rome. It was at that very moment, with the fall of the empire, when the Middle Ages began. But that's another story. As we always tell you, it is very important to know the past, to understand the present and improve the future, don't you think? Goodbye, friends! And don't forget to subscribe to Happy Learning TV.
Search us and subscribe to Happy Learning's YouTube channel.
Hello friends, and welcome to a new Happy Learning video. Take a look at this lifeline. As you can see, history is divided into 5 main stages. Today, we're going to learn all about the Ancient Age. The Ancient Age begins in 400 before Christ, when writing was created, and ends with the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 after Christ. During this period, the first civilizations emerged and developed. Mesopotamia being the first city-state, Egypt with its pharaohs and pyramids, Greece with its wise philosophers and the Olympics, and Rome with its strong gladiators and great empire. The main characteristics of the Ancient Age are the following. In ancient ages, urban life began to develop, causing cities to grow, and the number of inhabitants they had increased. In these cities, political power was in the hands of kings, emperors, and pharaohs. These positions were those with the highest authority. The population was divided into free men and slaves. The free men enjoyed many rights and owned the land and also the slaves. The slaves were usually prisoners of war or the children of slaves. They had no rights and always were made to do the hardest tasks. During the ancient age, wars were continuous, so the military were drilled on values, routine, and discipline, as well as perfecting their physical strength and aim. Trade between cities became more and more important and allowed for a great cultural exchange between them. This was also when the first architectural wonders, such as the Egyptian pyramids, the theaters, and the Colosseums in Rome, where the fearsome gladiators fought, and the Greek religious and cultural centers, the Acropolis, and the Parthenon were built. The truth is that it is impressive to see what the men in the ancient ages have accomplished. At Happy Learning, we believe it is very important to know the past, to understand the present, and to improve the future. Above all, it is very important to know the mistakes of the past and learn from them so as not to make them again. Goodbye, friends! Until the next video!
Great! You've completed the video. Now continue the route with the reading card, the video game, and the activity.
Hello friends! Welcome to a new Happy Learning video. Have a look at these images. They're numbers. Numbers are used for many things, like to count, to measure, and also to play. Today, we are going to get to know some very old and very special numbers. Today, we're going to learn about Roman numerals. To understand the importance of Roman numerals, we have to take a trip to the past. Over 2,000 years ago, the Roman Empire conquered many European countries. And these countries adopted their language, Latin, and also their numbers. Although over time, these numbers stopped being used. And the majority of countries started using Arabic numerals, which are what we use at present. Despite this, Roman numerals continue to be very important. For example, they are still used to tell the time on some clocks. To distinguish between kings, like the current King of Spain, Philip VI, with his ancestor, Philip V, or to number the centuries. You'll have seen more than once that the 20th century is represented like this, or the 21st century like this. Well, now it's time to really learn the Roman numerals. Roman numerals are represented through 7 capital letters that we have to learn. The I represents number 1, the V number 5, the X is 10, the L 50, the C 100, the D 500, and the M represents the number 1000. Now let's repeat. The I 1, V 5, X 10, L 50, C 100, D 500, and M 1000. It's easy, right? Also, Roman numerals are really fun because to write them, we have to think about and understand some interesting rules. But we will learn about this in another video. Bye, friends!
Search us and subscribe to Happy Learning's YouTube channel.
Hello friends, welcome to a new Happy Learning video. Do you remember some very old and very special numbers which are still seen today on some clocks? Yes, you can. They are the Roman numerals. Well, today we're going to learn how to count them and how to form bigger numbers. Today we're going to learn the rules of the Roman numerals. Do you remember Roman numerals? I is 1, V is 5, X is 10, L is 50, C is 100, D is 500, and M represent the number 1000. Very good, but how do you write the rest of the numbers? You're going to be amazed, but we only need these letters and 6 rules to form all the numbers we want. First rule, I, X, C, and M can be added up to 3 times. For example, to put a 3, we put the I once, twice, 3 times. Second rule, V, L, and D cannot be replaced because they already are the letters that represent their duplicate value. For example, putting a 10 like this is wrong. We already have the X, which is the number 10. Third rule, addition. If a Roman numeral is written to the right of a Roman numeral, then it is always added together. For example, if we have the X, which is 10, and to the right we have the V, which is 5, the 5 is smaller than 10, so we have to add them. 10 plus 5 equals 15. Very good! Fourth rule, subtraction. This is the exact opposite of the addition rule. When to the left of the Roman numeral there's a smaller one, it is subtracted. But be careful, we can only subtract a single symbol. For example, I, V would be 5 take away 1 equals 4 because the I is to the left and is smaller than the V. Sometimes we get confused with the rules of addition and subtraction, but let's take a look at an example to make it clearer. If we have this Roman numeral XI, it would mean the number 11, right? Because the I is less than the X and it is on the right side. That is, it is added. And what would happen if we placed it on the left of the X? Well, according to our rule, we'd have to subtract. 10 minus 1 equals 9. 11, 9. 11, 9. Can you see it? Well, here's the fifth rule. If between 2 digits there is one that is less than the other 2, it will subtract its value from the next one. That is, the one on the right. Let's see if you understand. Since the I is in between 2 numbers that are larger, we subtract the I from the X on the right. 10 minus 1 is equal to 9, and 10 plus 9 is equal to 19. That's it. Now for the 6th and last rule. The dash rule, the easiest of them all. When you find a Roman numeral with a dash over it, multiply it by 1,000. For example, if you see the number 9 with this little line above it, it is not 9, it is 9,000. It's not complicated at all, is it? Before we say goodbye, though, let's practice a number together, applying the rules we have just learnt. 97. Let's see, 97 can be formed by adding 90 to 7. How can we represent 90? 90 is 100 minus 10, isn't it? Well, we can use the C, which represents 100, and we can subtract the X, which is 10. To place them correctly, we remember the subtraction rule. which says that to subtract a smaller number, we place it to the left. So it would look like this. XC. Well, now we have 90. Next, we have to add 7. So we use the addition rule. And we place the numbers to the right of what we already have here. To add 7, we put the V, which is 5, and we add 2 with the letter I twice. Because the first rule told us that I, X, C, and M can be divided up to 3 times. Perfect! Let's put them in order then. X, C, V, I. Remember to put them on the right because we're adding. And that's it! 97 in Roman numerals. Roman numerals are a lot of fun, aren't they? They're like puzzles. If you practice the rules, you'll have a great time. Goodbye, friends! See you in the next video!
Great! You've completed the video. Now continue the route with the reading card, the video game, and the activity.
Hello, friends! Welcome to a new Happy Learning video! Today, we're going to know the incredible story of a pharaoh, famous for her beauty and intelligence, who lived surrounded by pyramids and deserts. Do you know who she is? It's Cleopatra, the most important pharaoh of Egypt. Surely you have heard that Cleopatra was very beautiful and flirtatious. She bathed in donkey's milk to preserve her beauty. She also liked cats so much that when they died, she mummified them. Unbelievable! But do you think that's the reason she became one of the most important and famous women in the world? She achieved amazing things thanks to her studies and her intelligence. Let's get to know her more. Cleopatra was born in Alexandria, a city in Egypt during the ancient ages. Yes, that's right, in the one era after prehistory and before the Middle Ages. She was the daughter of the pharaoh Ptolemy. What a name! And from a very young age, she stood out because of her desire to learn. Her father wanted her to have the best education possible, and she had the wisest sages as teachers. Cleopatra, who was a very good student, learned philosophy, mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and music. She was also very curious and learned all the languages spoken in Egypt: Arabic, Latin, Hebrew, Ethiopian, and so on up to 9 languages. Learning languages is very important so you can talk to the whole world. When her father died, Cleopatra was only 18 years old, and she was the heir to the throne. But Egyptian tradition said that a woman could not rule Egypt without a man. So Cleopatra had to reign with her younger brother. Of course, how patriarchal. Long live equality. But her brother, who was not willing to share power, betrayed her and managed to expel her from Egypt. Cleopatra, to confront her brother, came up with a very clever plan. Hidden in a luxurious carpet, she presented herself to Julius Caesar himself, the Emperor of Rome, the most important man in the world. Can you imagine Julius Caesar's fright when he saw her coming out of the carpet? Cleopatra told him of her brother's betrayal, and the Roman emperor, impressed by her courage and cunning, not only helped her to recover Egypt, but also, fell madly in love with her. Cleopatra returned to rule Egypt, and she did so well that her beloved country grew, became richer, and regained all its splendor. The Egyptians were very happy with their pharaoh, but the Romans not so much, and began to see Egypt as a threat to their power. So, when Julius Caesar died, they were quick to send a fleet full of soldiers and their best general to force Cleopatra to submit to the power of the Rome. This general's name was Mark Antony, and he was very brave. Cleopatra knew that Egypt had no chance of winning if they went to war, so once again she thought of a cunning plan. She appeared before Mark Antony disguised as a real Egyptian goddess in a luxury golden boat and accompanied by dozens of servants. She wanted to impress him and convince him that, instead of fighting, they should be friends, allies. And she succeeded. She really succeeded. Cleopatra and Mark Antony ended up in love. Mark Antony stayed to live in Egypt, and for many years they lived in peace. But there was no end to the problems. Octavian, the Emperor of Rome, considered Mark Antony a traitor and sent a huge fleet to crush Egypt. Mark Antony and Cleopatra fought together, but the Roman army were invincible. It is said that the beautiful pharaoh would rather die by a poisonous snake bite than see Egypt in the hands of the Romans. But that belongs to Cleopatra's legend. What do you think about the history of this beautiful pharaoh? Don't you agree that by her being eager to learn, showing curiosity, and speaking many languages, Cleopatra was able to solve very difficult problems? Goodbye, friends. See you next video.
Search us and subscribe to Happy Learning's YouTube channel.